Mhm. Checking on my LinkedIn. Should be
Okay.
started. Doesn't look like it. Ah, it is. It is starting.
Excellent. All
It did
right.
start. All right, man.
Very
All
good.
right.
Good
So,
morning to the world.
good morning, good afternoon, good evening. All right. So we talked a little bit earlier, just before this session started. We have a few topics that we definitely would like to tackle. I think we have about 15 minutes for this, give or take. I know you many are very punctual. This is actually one of the things that I definitely appreciate about you, that
Sir.
you are a punctual guy, man.
Yes, sir. I need
By
to
the way,
respect you.
yes, by the way, this is very rare.
Ah, thank you. It goes to the responsibility and the respect aspects.
Yes.
I like it. Sir, this morning we've got a list of topics here that you were addressing. We're going to talk about some basic tenets of business
Mm-hmm.
agility. We will touch on how business agility impacts product and technology as well.
Yeah.
We will come back to some topics that you've included about measuring outcomes,
Yeah.
increasing revenue, and reducing costs, things that the
Mm-hmm.
business aspect is very interested in doing.
Yeah. Just as an FYI, I forgot to tell you, um, I started the transcript based on last week's request because you asked for for the transcript, but last week I didn't have one.
That's okay.
It
You
took me
got
an
some
hour to
events.
generate it.
Yep, that's quite all right.
All
Something
right,
for
man.
me to compile notes about.
Yeah, it's cool.
Okay,
All right.
so
So, what do you wanna start with? I think you had a topic like
just
the Agile
let's
Manifesto has four statements. You wanted
yes,
to
sir.
start with that.
Yes, sir.
So,
Something about business agility. What are some basic tenets, some things that we can focus on? Just as we were
yeah.
talking earlier, the
Well,
Scrum values are very popular,
yeah.
very familiar.
Well, just to off the bat, I have to tell you that I'm a practical guy. I became a bit theoretical, but in the last 3 years, I became a very, very practical guy. So
Okay,
don't expect too much theory from my side.
you're very pragmatic. That's fine, right? You usually start with theory and then you get to execution. So you're more on the
Uh,
execution side.
well, that's how school teaches you should do it.
Hmm.
But in my experience, the best way to do it is just start, like you did with Claude, for example,
Yes, sir.
um, and to adjust as you go along. So you start, you have some objectives, you adjust. But let's say what would be four things that you would look for if you want to improve business agility in your company. Well,
Hmm.
first, I would say become outcome first. I mean, to me,
Excuse
that's
me.
that's the key aspect, and that's something that for the last 3 years I've actively worked on. In
Okay.
fact, one of the things that I would definitely recommend any agile coach there, even Scrum Masters, is reserve 1 hour to or 2 hours per week to look at metrics. Just do
Oh,
that, and don't don't necessarily go for the traditional agile metrics, but go for business agility metrics. Just work with your favorite AI, whichever you like. Copilot, Claude. I have actually both Copilot and Claude open here. So I don't know, Chat GPT, whatever, a Bacchus
whichever
AI.
whichever flavor you'd like. Hmm.
Yeah, and start thinking about revenue increase and cost decrease. So that would be first. The second thing that I would definitely recommend is a principle from DevOps, which is automate everything. So just to make it practical, make a list of everything that's manual in your team, like from creating specifications to deployment, right? Coding, etc., etc., and start working with the team on these aspects. What can be automated, for example, like what is deterministic and can just be automated. The yeah, that's in my opinion. If you and in my experience, if you really pay attention to this, and if you really focus on this, you can find huge gems. So I was telling you earlier that I'm currently automating a deployment, and we are. So I've been at this for 3 weeks, I think.
Okay.
And we are already. We have already automated step 1 out of 7 steps, and we are now working at step 2. On step 2.
Okay. Within step, I'm sure you have multiple steps underneath that as well.
Yeah, exactly. So just work with your team on that. Like you have developers, you have testers, you may have DevOps engineers. Just get them on board, right? If your testing is manual, do automated testing.
Yeah, that should be a given at this point, right? It's been 20 years you've been harping on automated testing, something that saves.
It's not a given. Just, I mean, if you're lucky, yeah. But I would definitely ask you to go deeper. Like, don't just ask the team, are you doing automated testing? Just ask really tough questions like, how much does your test harness take to run? Right?
How long it takes?
Yeah. What are the tests that should not be end to end and should be integration or unit tests, right?
Okay.
So these are tough questions to ask, and this is something that I think would definitely help coaches. The third thing that I would say would be very useful is learn how to get how to increase revenue in a company.
Okay.
Like understand what is the magic between marketing and sales, behind marketing and sales. Just understand how a sales call works, understand how you get a lead. Like these are basic business fundamentals, but without customers your company is out of business.
Okay. Would you say that increasing revenue is something that's outward facing and reducing costs is something that's inward facing?
Yeah, you can categorize it like that. It's part of the business process, right? No customers, no business. No operations, no business.
Gotcha. Okay. Increasing revenue with marketing, understanding marketing and sales, how the input funnel works in your organization.
How does your funnel work? And then, of course, same thing applies. Automate everything.
Okay. All right.
Go to principle 2.
Could you think of one more thing, one more basic tenet of business agility?
Yeah, I would definitely go then to the ruthless examination of operations workflows. Right.
Okay.
Ruthlessly look at what are the steps that people are taking in order to achieve outcomes. Like, what are the steps to solve a customer call? What are the steps to fix a bug, etc. And try to figure out, okay, is this generating rework? Is this something that's only partially fixed and it will come back later. Like just on Friday, we had a discussion on an issue on the test environments that was solved via a server restart. That's just putting plaster over a
over a crack, not actually
yeah,
fixing
not
the root
fixing.
cause.
Yeah, that's the point. And don't settle for you know stupid conversations like people telling you, yeah, we tried in the past, but this is not going to get fixed, etc. Don't settle for that. This is where you should be stubborn. Like, don't trust uh, people telling you that it can't be done. I know this is antitrust,
Mm-hmm.
but this is how you get effective. Like, specialists and people that have high standards, they understand how good looks like and how bad
Mm-hmm.
looks like, and they don't accept people um, giving you solutions that are not the right solutions.
This goes back to gathering the data. If you are running a particular test harness or
Yeah, of
you want
course.
to try a different strategy, people say it won't
No.
work. Well, let's run it and let's produce data. Let's evaluate the data, and then from there we can make
Yeah.
decisions as opposed to just throwing up your hand and saying, "Oh, that won't work," or "We tried that before."
Yeah.
Right? I push to generate data, and then from there we can be objective about
Yeah.
what's actually occurred.
Yeah. And the data is just there to guide you, right?
Yes.
That's the point. It's a guidance. It's not God. But it's better to have data than to not have data. Like it's
Better
always
than guessing.
yeah, it's always easier to be more objective when you have data, and it's easier to convince people when you have data. You
Yes,
don't
it
struggle
takes the
that much.
opinion out of it. Takes the opinion out of it. It takes the authority out of it as well, right? Authority can
Yeah,
override data, but if you're overriding data that's in front of
yeah.
you, that's telling you a particular story, then
This is
you have
how
a different.
many. This is how many alerts I got from Instana.
Hmm. Yeah, it's hard
Can
to
we
argue
create?
against.
Yeah, can we create Jira tickets based on those alerts?
Hmm.
If not, then we're just creating spam,
Okay.
right? So
That's
that's the point. Like, uh, asking these tough questions that are action oriented will definitely help you unlock um, the potential that the team has. And that's the point.
okay.
It's up to you as a coach, as a leader, whatever your role. It's up to you to lift the people up to their highest potential, and you can't do that unless you are an amazing professional yourself.
Yes, sir. We've been talking about data here for a few minutes, and one of the topics that you wanted to talk about was measuring outcomes.
Yeah.
That could be a segue into measuring outcomes.
Hmm.
Which outcomes are we talking about? What?
That's a very generic question.
Yes, it is. I can be more specific about it, right? But before I start talking about what I think, what
Hmm.
what were what were some of the perspectives you wanted to talk about with measuring outcomes?
Yeah. So basically, what I wanted to touch on this topic is that measuring outcomes, especially in cultures that are not used to measuring outcomes, and
Hmm.
if my experience serves as anything, usually agile people are needed in cultures that are not agile.
Okay.
Cultures that are more agile oriented, they kind of cut agile people out, and then they will hire them in a few years back when everything degrades. But I think that the tough nut to crack is how can we create an outcome oriented culture or data oriented culture in an environment where data is not safe to bring up or where people feel threatened about data. And I think that's a very tough topic for a lot of agilists out there, because some of the agilists do want the data,
Hmm.
but because everything is so convoluted, everything is so, and everybody's so, out of their mind, busy, stressed, they just give up. And I think that's the wrong way of looking at it. Like, what what I found useful is you start scoping for the real problems that people have. Like, the problems that I'm working on right now are uh, these two huge problems, or three huge problems. The fact that the deployment is not reliable, so people are doing manual changes, and from environment to environment, um, it's very tough to swear that your next deployment will be okay.
Okay.
So how are we getting rid of this problem is, we are going to have a GitLab pipeline that's going to uh, trigger the deployment, and there's not going to be any manual intervention in the pipeline from environment to environment. So that's how we're fixing this.
No humans involved, right?
No humans involved. Yeah,
No humans.
automated, man.
The button, get your coffee. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. This is something that existed since 15 years ago, so it's nothing new. We're not
Yeah.
reinventing the wheel here. We're not bringing AI on the table. It's just
Hmm.
something that existed, and a lot of companies are not doing.
Okay.
But
I call it
you
solved problem. We've solved that problem already. It's something we should be. It's table stakes. It should be a
in
given. Should be a
in
given.
some companies, in some departments, in some teams.
Hmm.
But this is where we talked about straight through processing last time, if you remember.
Yes, sir.
So start thinking about straight through processing, for example, for delivery, or straight through processing for acceptance, like feature acceptance.
Okay. For the newcomers to the channel here, can you restate straight through processing? You
Yeah,
gave
yeah,
me the formula for it.
yeah. So straight through processing is the amount of processing that's automatically done over the total amount of processing. So basically, you use this indicator to measure what is the automation level of a flow. So if, for example, let's take the delivery pipeline, right? That we are delivering a piece of software from code is committed to production, right?
Hmm.
So basically, straight through processing in this case means how many deliveries are automated fully
Hmm.
versus the total number of deliveries. So if I have 10 deliveries this week or this month, right? 10 deliveries. And if I intervene in 9, then my straight through processing rate is 10%. If I
Okay.
intervene in 2, then my straight through processing is 80%.
80%.
So what you want to get as close, or if not, to 100% straight through processing. And it can apply to a lot of flows. So anything that you have as a flow basically can benefit from this indicator. Like in business, for example, if you have like a banking domain, right? How many customers can get a loan without a front office worker intervening in the process, for example, right? And you calculate that percentage, and that's straight through processing.
In my career, I've tried to coach teams to 90% of anything. 90%. If you get to 90%, okay, pretty good. Now you can focus on something else.
Yeah, it's a discussion on diminishing returns here.
So,
In some cases, you have some operational risks that you are actually, uh, let's say, deferring or avoiding if you have some manual checks. In some cases, you have some operational risk that you are avoiding if you have straight through processing of 100%. So it is a matter of taste to some extent, but
Mhm.
I'm a fan of automation, man. I have to tell you this. I'm a fan of automation. If you can fully automate something, why would you
Exactly.
not?
Yes. If you can automate all 10 steps in a process, do it, right? If one of
Why
those
would you
steps
not?
needs human intervention, a decision point or a judgment point, then
Yeah,
that's well.
yeah. So that's the point. Like, try to do this.
Okay.
Um, so um, I forgot what was the thing we were discussing. What's the
We're talking about measuring outcomes. You were talking
measuring
about
outcomes? Okay. Yeah, go
cultures
ahead.
of data.
Okay, so basically, yeah, in companies that don't have this data-driven culture, it's very
Mhm.
tough to get the data because they don't have it and they're not used to it and they feel threatened by the data. So
Mhm.
what you need to do is you take on a problem or multiple problems. Like in my case, I'm taking on 3 problems at once, and you start digging into the problem, and then you start telling them after 1 or 2 or 3 weeks, okay, let's get organized about this. What are we measuring? How do we know we are going in the right direction? How will we know that something is going wrong? So if you do that, then it should be fine. But it's a tough problem to solve, and people have to trust you
Mhm.
to. I mean, you have to at least have one quick win before you start talking about data. Otherwise, they'll find you weird.
Yeah, if you keep promising, we call it pie in the sky. I
Yeah,
keep promising all these beautiful outcomes, but I haven't generated any real data or any impact. Nothing has changed except for me
any
talking.
impact. Yeah, any impact, then the level of trust is not there. Right. A colleague of mine told me, asked me actually on Friday if I have any hobbies. I told him football, and he said, "Oh, so you are not a robot."
That's good. I like it. So you were talking about 3 problems that you were
Yeah,
addressing right. You talked about deployment not being
yeah,
reliable. Can
that's
you share another one? One of the
that's
pro-
one of
another
them.
problem that
The Yeah, the second problem is environment stability, test environment stability, but it's also production stability. So basically, there are a lot of components of the application that are not stable, and basically this is something that we're targeting right now. So
Mhm.
what we're doing is we're hunting every problem that we're getting, and we're ruthlessly getting people into root cause analysis and fixing the problem, not just patching them up, not just going for workarounds. And the third thing that we are doing right now is seamless deployments. So basically, we have the infrastructure in place, but somehow our deployments still cause outages,
Okay.
which to me is mind blowing. Like when I heard about it, I was like, "Oh man,
How
dude,
could this
it
exist?
hurts. It hurts my ears and eyes when I look at this, when I hear this. I cannot. But yeah, this is a tougher conversation. Like I had a 1 hour conversation with an infrastructure architect on this,
Mhm.
and we have a follow up on Tuesday with multiple people. But the real key is how can you create a technical solution that can um, allow you to safely deploy, safely test, and then safely propagate a new version of the application without affecting the users. Right. So that's the problem that we're working on. It's not a simple problem. It's a tougher technical challenge, but uh, I'm telling you, the people that can actively contribute to this problem are gold for any company, any software company out there.
Okay. The term seamless, are you saying from the user perspective, you're updating the application, you're
Yep.
doing deployment without impacting them?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
That's what I mean.
Another thing that came to mind was seamless. I have modules from other companies or other
Yeah.
departments that I need to pull into my
Yeah.
deployment,
Exactly.
right? So that seamless as well. But you're taking it from the customer perspective.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah, seamless from the customer perspective, from the deployment perspective, you should have some sort of repository for those
you. Mhm.
modules, right? And you should upload them to the repository. Depending on how strict your company is, you may or may not give them access to the repository directly. So if they have direct access, then they should just upload to the repository. If they don't have direct access, then they'll probably leave the files in a folder, and then you'll uh, use some sort of pipeline to take them
Okay.
from the repository and uh, to deploy them on your environments. But it's part of the automated part, so it's part of the first part of the equation. And after we finish this, then my tougher task is to um, you know work with business and to show them that the way they're handling OKRs and the way they're working waterfall style is not working. But again, you know, like you have to earn your stripes within an organization. You have to first add value before they trust you to tackle the project management part, which they think they're already doing okay, but they're not, of course.
Okay. Establishing credibility,
Yeah,
right? Before you start taking on some
yeah,
of the larger issues. So we've talked about the measuring outcomes. Let's talk about something that definitely gets the business's attention is increasing revenue.
increasing revenue. All right. So I'm a firm believer that you can't do any meaningful business agility coaching if you don't
Mm-hmm.
understand branding, marketing, and sales. So, what do I mean by understanding branding, marketing, and sales? Like, if you didn't create something and try to sell it,
Mm-hmm.
then you have no idea how hard it is, and you don't understand what's the uh, burden that these people that need to generate revenue have, right? So you created your product, the Scrum Master Prism.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get any more sales?
I did not. So
All right,
I pivoted to how I'm going to be marketing or branding this.
all right, perfect. So basically, just by doing this, right, you're going to be in front of 90% of agile coaches out there.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you're doing this, because you understand what a LinkedIn post is, just because you understand what a LinkedIn ad is,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just because you understand what it means to go out there and face the crowd, face the market. Like we talked, I think 2 weeks ago, we talked about market versus business leaders, and that the market is actually more ruthless than the business leaders. Well, you can't actually appreciate the people that are running a business unless you start doing that yourself. So my recommendation for agile coaches is, yeah, just try to promote something. Try to see how how easy it is to approach a random stranger on LinkedIn and tell
Mm-hmm.
them, hey, I have this, would you buy it from me? I know
Yes.
I know you guys in America do this lemonade stand thingy
Mm-hmm.
when you guys are young, but
Yes.
when you're young, you're cute and you get protected by the cuteness.
Yeah. No cute in the boardroom. People don't care if you're cute or not.
There you go. So yeah, um, start understanding what impressions are. Start understanding what um, you know a lead funnel is. Start understanding what the closing rate, what a closing rate means. Start understanding, if you're working on a SaaS, start understanding what the activation rate means. right? Start understanding what churn means. These are key aspects that for any serious agile coach, right? Because there are people that say, you know, agile planning, and you know, for them agile equals scrum, which by the way is not true. Like you'll be so much better off than these people. You'll be so much so differentiated than these people. I mean, you're going to attack the real issue. Do we have enough customers? What is our OKR? How many customers did we have to get this quarter? Is our funnel right? Is the are the steps that are in the application getting people through, or are the steps actually deterring people?
Gotcha. Reducing the friction is how I've heard it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very easy to click the next button.
Yeah.
They want to click the next button.
If your workflow is 7 steps, make it 3 steps.
Okay.
Right? If it's 3 steps, make it 1 step. How can you do that? How can you make this frictionless, seamless interaction with the customer? Right? Especially for SaaS companies and especially for SaaS type of products, but also if you're serving a corporate type of product, right? Is the flow actually serving them? Is it giving them enough for them to go to other stakeholders within their company and convince them?
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Reducing friction.
Yeah, that's one of the key aspects. But you start from proper marketing. Could you coach a marketing team to get more leads? Could you coach them? Could you coach the marketing and sales team for the lead to sales lead friction to drop? You know, there's such a thing as a marketing lead, and there's such a thing as a sales lead.
Okay. This is definitely something I need to focus on. I am excellent with the process and with people and doing organizational change, culture. Yeah. I've left product to the wayside. So that's something I can definitely improve for myself as well.
But that's the blood of the businessman. So
in my experience, I've always coached to having a solid process with a solid team.
Yeah.
If I can get those 2 things, then you can pretty much build almost anything.
Yes.
That's the way I've been approaching that's my coaching perspective.
Yeah, but that's the key. If they're building crap, are you responsible for it?
I have to say yes.
Now you do, yes.
Okay.
And that's the point.
Could you elaborate a little bit on this one thing? This is a situation that I had just recently encountered. The business came to the technical teams and said, we need to increase sales by 5%.
Yes.
So
I remember we talked about this.
We talked about it. If you could just give us 1 or 2 things that we could focus on there.
Yeah, so I remember we had a conversation on this, and I actually liked the conversation a lot. I think I referred you to the pirate metrics from
yes, sir.
From Google. By the way, I don't know them by heart, but I do know they are there. I think it was
activation, revenue, retention, and referrals.
Yes.
You pointed me to them, so I just put them in here.
You have a better memory than I have mine. Right? So if you follow those metrics, they are basically a funnel, right? Acquisition means how many customers can I get on the front, right? Activation, activation means how many do I get from a free subscription to a paid subscription, right? Retention means how many people actually stay with me. So if I get 100 customers on the door, at my door, and 50% subscribe, and out of those 50% I get 30% to stay, right? And out of those 30% I get 10% to referral, and then this is my total revenue, right? So basically it's a funnel. But there's a reason why people use funnels, right? The reason is very simple, because they work. and they give you a good idea of what to change in the software, right? Of course, for more seasoned business professionals, they will know that, you know, funnels are good for modeling, but they're not 100% true, because customers will only get to the point of satisfaction, and after that they will leave. But in the end, it's up to you as a business unit, and it's up to you as an agile coach to coach the business people to maximize those numbers, right? And yeah, you do it with AI, you do it with customer interviews, you do it with statistical analysis. However you need to do it, you have to get those numbers and iterate on improving those numbers. And this is where OKRs are actually good, because based on your OKRs, on your defined OKRs, and based on the team output, so what the team does, if you can connect business with the software development team, and if you can accelerate everything through automation and AI, basically you can get to a place where your sprints are actually moving some part of the business data, like acquisition, how many customers do we get, right? Maybe your business team needs a landing page, right? We do it in the first day. We assume that by spending $1,000 in marketing, we will get 100 customers, right? At our doorstep. Actually, with $1,000, I think you can get more. Yeah, I think you can get 2,000 or 3,000, depending on how well they've refined those customers, right? And based on that, you would like to see how many did subscribe, right? And what you would do with very fast delivery of new outputs is throughout the sprint, throughout a 10-day sprint, you can have 4 or 5 iterations that would actually increase the metric, that would actually increase the number of customers. And that's the connection that I see right now together with AI. So basically, if you can get to a place where you focus on outcomes instead of features, you can actually, inside a sprint, you can actually move a business metric. Not fundamentally, not a lot, but do that for multiple sprints and you'll have a lot of advantage over other companies.
Okay.
And other teams.
So you brought up the pirate metrics. I really wanted to get a G in there at the end to make it ARG. So I was thinking about the concept of growth in some way, right? Growth of revenue, growth of your client base, growth of even your people, growing your tech stack in some way. So I got to figure out how to formulate that so I can put the G in there.
Yeah, you can say it's the game.
So we've got about 10 more minutes left. I wanted to talk about reducing costs.
Reducing costs, yes.
Or we were talking earlier, increasing sales to me, from my perspective, was more of an outward focus, and reducing costs was more of an internal focus. And I think that you have more control over reducing costs because that's something you have your hands on. Yeah.
That's what people think. Right?
Please tell me, elaborate.
So I think that this is mostly a fallacy. I can't help myself but make a joke. The best way to reduce costs is just to close the business.
The ultimate, right?
No business, no
Do
cost,
less
man.
than zero.
No business, no cost. Um, but getting out of the joke zone and looking at this, I think it's a fallacy because um, both in revenue getting and in cost reduction, you need good specialists. I have an example, like a friend of mine got his cost reduced based on a software delivery. And first of all, the software delivery was delayed. Second of all, it didn't do what it promised. It was done on a business flow mapping that was wrong. They coded the right thing, but on the wrong process.
Okay.
So if they were to have done more iterative development, they would have caught it earlier. But the key aspect is, out of 10 metrics, I think 8 or 9 are now in the can.
Okay.
Which is awful, and they had to fire people as a result of that improvement, and now they had to rehire, and it was a whole fiasco. Since 6 months problem. So that's why I'm saying that theoretically you have more control. Practically, it depends on how good the people that are implementing that cost reduction are. Now, when we talk about cost reduction doesn't necessarily mean that you are firing people.
Mhm.
Cost reduction can also mean that you are reducing the cost per item produced, or you are reducing the cost per business item produced. All right.
I'm sorry. Last part again. You
per,
said the last part.
per business item produced or business item improved.
Okay. Thank you.
Right. Because there are a few ways of looking at cost reduction. Of course, I'm a very unpopular guy for saying this, but I do believe that you do have to fire the wrong people. So
Mhm.
I mean, the people that are wrong for your company, if they don't produce results, then I'm sorry.
Why is it? Yep.
Now, this is just something that I've formed over time. I've seen people that are producing results. I've seen people that aren't producing results, and unfortunately, every time you try to cater to somebody that's not producing results, you're going to upset your best people in the team. They're going to really become upset after a point. So 6 months, a year in, they're going to tell
Mhm.
you, and they're not going to be pleasant about it.
High performers watching people just drag their feet, not pulling their weight.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that impacts their mindset.
And I know this is not kosher, or this is not what most people and what most agile coaches want to hear. But if you're being pragmatic, um, it's just better for the team efficiency, right?
Mhm.
Now, when I talk about reducing cost, mostly I like to talk about performance, like what needs to happen for you to improve the performance of your team,
Mhm.
right? And this is why I'm big on treating manual work as technical debt. I think that anything that you do manually is technical debt, and I think you should have a tech debt backlog for you to diligently follow in order to improve the way your team works, right? But
I've not
reduce,
heard that before.
yeah,
Manual work is technical debt. Please
yeah,
give, give us an example or something that you've
yeah.
experienced.
I've already given you these examples. Like I'm working on them now. So, for example,
You're
the fact that we have to restart a server in order to make
okay.
the application work well.
Okay. There you go.
Um,
Restart server. Okay.
right? The fact that we have to run a manual test, the fact that we have to generate the testing use cases ourselves when we have AI,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this is the thing that we need to look for. But when you're looking at costs, you also need to look broader than the actual people in the team, and this is something that most businesses, I think, don't really um, look for at the level of detail that they need. So, for example, um, we're doing an incredible overhaul of the contracts that we have with our suppliers.
Okay.
Like
Contract review.
a lot of the suppliers that we work with are charging a lot of money, and we don't need uh, that much product or that much service, or they are charging you per item when you could negotiate a flat fee, or
Okay.
you're being charged time and material when you're should be going for fixed cost. And that's and that's the point. That's how you stop the bleeding, right? Or in case of AI, right, you're giving everybody free pass on token usage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just saw yesterday an article from Polymarket that a company just got billed 500 million in AI tokens in a month. 500 million.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's I can't comprehend that. $500 million in a month.
yeah. So that's the point. When I say cost reduction, I also mean um, expense prevention, and I also mean supplier cost reduction, and I also mean performance improvement, right? So the basic principles are these: automate everything, and try to really look at AI for workflows.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I haven't been that hands-on on workflows with AI. I saw a lot of people that are doing this, and I guess it should be fine, and I guess in the future it will happen more and more. But I think that AI, like uh, home trained, by the company, I think will be the future for a lot of companies, because this will mean no token cost other than the actual energy consumption.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I like that.
anyway, these are the things that I would definitely recommend. So one of the most practical things here is just make a list of manual work that's happening right now in your team or in your business processes. Just make a list.
Identify manual work.
Yeah, that's the most practical thing that you can do.
All right. I'll put a star on that one. We are 3 minutes out from time. Anything else you wanted to address or put a bow on? We
Oh,
definitely talked about the basic outcomes, right? Were really
yeah,
helpful. Being outcome focused, and automate the world, increasing the revenue, and ruthlessly analyzing your workflows, which goes right to
yeah,
your last point, identifying the manual work.
yeah. And it's look, it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of hard work, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And the I think I would like to leave everybody with this: get out of being generic and start being very specific.
Generic,
Yeah,
more specific.
yeah.
Okay.
So instead of saying we have to do root cause analysis, say how many bugs did we have, and how many bugs did we do root cause analysis on, and how many bugs uh, have the root cause analysis fixed, the root
Gotcha.
cause fixed, right? Start being very specific. The more specific you are, the more people will pay attention, and the more effective you'll be as a coach.
Okay. Those are good closing words. We'll leave it there. As always, so thank you for your time and your knowledge. I appreciate the learnings.
Thank you also for your time, Manny, and see you next time, man.
Okay. Take care, Avi.
Have a great day and have a great weekend, man. Bye.